You think white billionaires are the only ones with crazy yachts? Think again. Black billionaires are stepping up their game, and we're about to show you the most insane floating mansions you've ever seen. From gold-plated everything to underwater viewing rooms, these $3 billion yachts owned by the richest black people are next level, and trust me, you ain't seen nothing like this before. Tyler Perry's floating studio. Tyler Perry ain't just about making movies, he's taking his film game to the high seas. This dude's got a yacht that's basically a floating movie studio. No joke, it's got editing rooms and even a mini soundstage. Perry's dropping serious cash on this thing too, like $500K a year just to keep it running. But here's the kicker, he uses it to get away from all the Hollywood noise and write his scripts in peace. Now you might be thinking, that's cool and all, but what else can this boat do? Well, hold on to your hats, because this yacht's got some crazy tech. We're talking underwater cameras for filming ocean scenes. Perry's not messing around. He's ready to capture whatever inspiration hits him, even if it's 20,000 leagues under the sea. But don't think this is just some fancy toy. Perry says this boat is all business. It's a working vessel that pays for itself. How? Well, when you're cranking out hit movies and TV shows left and right, a floating studio starts to make a whole lot of sense. It's like having an office that can take you anywhere in the world. The yacht's got all the luxe amenities you'd expect too. We're talking multiple decks, a sweet entertainment system, and views that'll make your Instagram followers drool. But Perry ain't about that flashy life. For him, it's all about creating content and staying productive, even when he's out on the water. Now I know what you're thinking. This yacht sounds insane, but here's the thing, compared to the other boats on our list, this is just the appetizer, y'all. Perry's floating studio is impressive, no doubt, but it's like comparing a rowboat to the Titanic when you see what some of these other black billionaires are sailing around in. But before we move on, let's give Perry his props. He turned a luxury yacht into a money-making machine. That's the kind of smart thinking that got him where he is today. While other celebs are partying on their boats, Perry's out there hustling, even when he's supposed to be relaxing. So what's next on our list of insane black billionaire yachts? Well, we're about to check out a music mogul who took yacht parties to a whole new level. We're talking nightclubs, recording studios, and even a submarine. Yeah, you heard that right, a submarine. But you'll have to stick around to find out who's behind this floating party paradise. Jay-Z and Beyonce's party boat. Remember when we said Tyler Perry's yacht was just the appetizer? Well, get ready for the main course. Jay-Z and Beyonce's party boat isn't just a yacht, it's a whole vibe. How do you turn $70 million into the ultimate floating playground? Let's find out. Jay-Z and Beyonce ain't playing when it comes to partying on the high seas. Their yacht's got a built-in nightclub that'd make most land-based clubs look weak. We're talking a sound system that'll shake the ocean floor. It's so loud, fish probably think there's a new species of whale in town, but that's just the start. This beast's got jacuzzis on every deck. Yeah, you heard that right. Every single deck. 'Cause why have just one hot tub when you can have like 5? It's like they looked at regular yachts and said, nah, not enough bubbles. Now, $70 million might sound like a lot to us regular folks, but for Jay and Bay, that's just another day at the office. They probably found that in their couch cushions. But they didn't just spend it on party stuff. There's a recording studio on board too, 'cause when inspiration hits, you gotta be ready. Imagine Beyonce waking up, seeing a dolphin and deciding to write a song about it. Boom, studio right there. But here's where it gets really wild. This yacht's got its own submarine, for real. While other celebs are chilling on deck, Jay and Bay can be exploring shipwrecks or racing giant squids or whatever rich people do underwater. It's like having your own personal yellow submarine, but probably way fancier. Jay and Beyonce use this floating palace for everything. Family vacations with Blue Ivy and the twins? Check. Wild parties with their celeb friends? Double check. It's like a Swiss Army knife of yachts, ready for whatever they want to do. But don't think it's all play and no work. This power couple knows how to mix business with pleasure. They've probably sealed million-dollar deals while lounging in one of those jacuzzis. And with that recording studio, they can drop a surprise album anytime, anywhere. Now, you might be thinking, this has got to be the craziest yacht out there, right? Well, hold on to your life jackets, because we're just getting started. The next billionaire on our list has a boat that makes this one look like a rubber ducky. Oprah Winfrey's Floating Book Club. From eco-friendly to education-friendly, these yachts are full of surprises. But can you guess which media mogul turned their $200 million vessel into a floating library? Hint, you might want to join her book club. Oprah Winfrey ain't messing around when it comes to luxury on the high seas. Her yacht is basically a floating version of her famous book club, but way fancier. This $200 million beast has a massive library with thousands of books. We're talking wall-to-wall shelves stocked with everything from classic literature to the latest bestsellers. It's like Barnes and Noble decided to set sail. But Oprah didn't stop at just filling her yacht with books. She's got a special reading room with panoramic views of the ocean. Imagine curling up with a good book while watching dolphins jump out of the water. That's the kind of view money can buy, and Oprah's got it on lock. Now, you might think this yacht is all about quiet time and reading, but Oprah knows how to mix it up. She's got a cinema on board for movie nights. It's probably bigger and fancier than your local theater. Oprah's out here watching premieres while floating in the middle of the ocean. That's next-level movie night goals right there. But wait, there's more. This yacht's got a spa that'd make most five-star hotels jealous. We're talking massage rooms, saunas, and probably some fancy treatments we've never even heard of. Oprah's living her best life, getting pampered while sailing the seven seas. Oprah ain't just using this floating palace for herself, though. She hosts writing retreats for up-and-coming authors on board. Imagine working on your novel while chilling on a multi-million-dollar yacht. That's the kind of inspiration that could turn anyone into the next Stephen King. Now, here's the coolest part. Oprah's got a garden on board where she grows her own veggies. Yeah, you heard that right. While other billionaires are importing exotic fruits, Oprah's out here growing tomatoes in the middle of the ocean. It's like she took the farm-to-table trend and said, let's do this on a yacht. This yacht is more than just a boat. It's like a floating Oprah empire. She's got everything she needs to run her book club, host her show, and even feed herself with homegrown veggies. It's no wonder she dropped $200 million on this thing. For Oprah, it's probably worth every penny. But don't think this is the craziest yacht on our list. Up next, we've got a boat that's more like a floating Silicon Valley. We're talking high-tech gadgets, satellite internet, and enough computing power to run a small country. But you'll have to stick around to see which tech billionaire turned their yacht into a floating office that'd make Mark Zuckerberg jealous. Mike Adenuga's floating office. You thought Oprah's floating library was impressive? Wait till you see Mike Adenuga's yacht. This Nigerian billionaire didn't just build a boat, he created a whole office building that can sail the seven seas. And trust me, the perks of this workplace will blow your mind. Mike Adenuga, the telecom titan from Nigeria, ain't playing around when it comes to his floating office. This beast is worth over $250 million, and it's basically a skyscraper on water. We're talking multiple floors of pure business luxury. The yacht's got more conference rooms than some hotels. And get this, they all have satellite internet that's faster than what most offices on land have. Adenuga's employees are probably sending emails before the signal even reaches regular internet users. It's that fast. But the real kicker? Adenuga's got a whole floor just for his personal office suite. Yeah, you heard that right. A whole floor. It's probably bigger than most people's houses. He's got views of the ocean from every angle while he's making billion-dollar deals. Now, here's where it gets really wild. The yacht's equipped with a stock trading room. Adenuga can make deals and move markets while he's cruising through the Mediterranean. It's like Wolf of Wall Street, but on a boat and probably with less illegal stuff. But don't think it's all work and no play on this floating office. Adenuga knows how to balance things out. There's a full-size basketball court on board. Imagine shooting hoops while sailing past the French Riviera. That's the kind of lunch break most of us can only dream of. And for when Adenuga and his team need to unwind after a long day of making money. There's a movie theater on board. We're talking big screen, surround sound, the works. It's probably nicer than most cinemas in your town. Adenuga uses this floating HQ to host business summits in different ports around Africa. He's literally bringing the mountain to Muhammad, or in this case, bringing the office to other billionaires. Why meet in a boring hotel conference room when you can do it on a $250 million yacht, right? But as insane as this floating office is, it's just the tip of the iceberg on our list. Up next, we've got a yacht that's all about family fun. We're talking water slides, basketball courts, and even a recording studio. Can you guess which larger-than-life sports star owns this floating amusement park? Stick around to find out. Shaquille O'Neal's family fun yacht. Remember that floating amusement park we teased? Well, get ready, because this yacht is about to shatter your expectations. Ever wonder what happens when you give a 7-foot basketball legend $300 million to build his dream boat? Spoiler alert, it involves a basketball-shaped submarine. Shaquille O'Neal ain't playing around with his family fun yacht. This thing's like a whole theme park on water, no joke. First up, you know Shaq had to have a full-size basketball court on board. It's probably the only boat in the world where you can practice your free throws while cruising past tropical islands. But that's just the start. Shaq's got a water slide that goes from the top deck straight into the ocean. Imagine sliding down that thing and splashing into crystal clear waters. It's like having your own private water park, but way fancier. Now, you might think a regular gym wouldn't cut it for someone Shaq's size. Well, you'd be right. That's why he's got a custom-built gym on this yacht that can handle his 7-foot frame. We're talking extra tall ceilings, reinforced equipment, the works. Shaq can pump iron while watching the sunset over the ocean. When it's time to chill, Shaq's got a movie theater on board. But this ain't your average home cinema. The seats are big enough for the big man himself. You could probably fit 3 regular people in one of those chairs. It's like watching movies from the comfiest couch ever, but you're in the middle of the ocean. But here's where it gets really wild. Shaq's got a recording studio on this yacht. Yeah, you heard that right. The big diesel can work on his rap career while sailing the 7 seas. Who knows? Maybe he'll drop a surprise album recorded entirely on this floating palace. Now you might be thinking, this yacht can't get any cooler. But hold up, because we saved the best for last. Shaq's got a mini submarine shaped like a basketball. For real. This thing can take you underwater to explore reefs and shipwrecks. It's like Shaq looked at regular submarines and said, "Nah, make mine look like a giant basketball." This $300 million monster is more than just a boat. It's like Shaq took all his childhood dreams and turned them into a floating reality. From shooting hoops to underwater adventures, this yacht's got it all. But as insane as Shaq's family fun yacht is, it's just one of the crazy boats on our list. Up next, we've got a yacht that's all about the bling. We're talking fashion shows, runways over the water, and a closet that's bigger than most people's apartments. Can you guess which style icon owns this floating fashion week? Stick around to find out. Rihanna's floating fashion show. From basketball courts to runways, we're jumping from sports to style. What if I told you there's a yacht out there that's basically New York Fashion Week on water? Rihanna's $350 million vessel is about to redefine what it means to be a fashionista at sea. Rihanna ain't playing when it comes to floating fashion. Her yacht's got a runway that extends over the water. Yeah, you heard that right. Models can strut their stuff with the ocean as their backdrop. It's like walking on water, but make it fashion. But that's just the start. This boat's got a closet that's bigger than most people's apartments. We're talking rows and rows of designer clothes, shoes, and accessories. It's like Rihanna took her entire wardrobe and said, "Let's make this float." And get this. There's a whole design studio on board where Riri works on her Fenty line. She can come up with new designs while cruising past tropical islands. Talk about inspiration on demand. It's like she's got a whole fashion empire right there on the water. But Rihanna knows that fashion ain't just about designing. It's about showing off too. That's why her yacht's got a photo studio for impromptu fashion shoots. Imagine waking up, seeing a beautiful sunset, and deciding to do a whole photo shoot right then and there. That's the kind of luxury Rihanna's living. Now you might think this yacht is all work and no play. But come on, this is Rihanna we're talking about. She knows how to balance things out. There's a beauty salon and spa on board for when she needs to relax. It's probably fancier than most land-based spas. Rihanna can get her nails done while sailing past the French Riviera. But here's where it gets really wild. Rihanna uses this floating fashion paradise to host exclusive fashion shows in exotic locations. She'll pull up to a beautiful beach, extend that overwater runway, and put on a show that'd make Milan Fashion Week jealous. Imagine being invited to one of these events. You're chilling on a yacht worth more than most people will make in 10 lifetimes, watching models walk on water, with Rihanna herself hosting. It's the kind of experience that money usually can't buy, but Rihanna's making it happen. This $350 million beast isn't just a boat, it's a whole fashion ecosystem. From designing to showcasing to relaxing, Rihanna's got everything she needs to run her style empire from the middle of the ocean. But as insane as Rihanna's floating fashion show is, It's just one of the crazy yachts on our list. Up next, we've got a boat that's basically a floating Vegas casino. We're talking slot machines, poker tables, and a vault that'd make Fort Knox jealous. Can you guess which media mogul turned his yacht into a gambling paradise? Stick around to find out. Robert Johnson's Casino Royale. You thought Vegas was the ultimate gambling destination? Think again. One media mogul's taken the casino experience to a whole new level, and it's not on land. We're about to dive into a $400 million floating paradise where the stakes are as high as the waves. Robert Johnson, the guy who founded BET, ain't playing around with his yacht. He turned this beast into a full-on floating casino. We're talking slot machines, poker tables, roulette, the works. It's like he picked up the Bellagio and dropped it in the ocean. But that's just the start. Johnson's got a high roller room on this thing that'd make even the biggest ballers sweat. We're talking million-dollar buy-ins, folks. That's right. While you're out here playing penny slots, these guys are throwing around millions like it's nothing. Now you might be wondering, where do they keep all that cash? Well, Johnson thought of that too. He's got a vault on board that's probably more secure than most banks. It's where they store all the cash and chips. This thing's so fancy, it probably has its own security team. Speaking of security, this yacht's got systems that'd make Fort Knox jealous. We're talking state-of-the-art cameras, motion sensors, the works. It's like Johnson looked at regular yacht security and said, nah, let's make this thing impossible to rob. But don't think it's all about gambling on this floating paradise. Johnson knows how to class it up too. There's a cigar lounge on board that's probably fancier than any you've ever seen. Imagine puffing on a Cuban while sailing past the French Riviera. That's the kind of luxury we're talking about here. And for when you need something to wash down that cigar, there's a whiskey bar that'd make any Scotch lover drool. We're talking rare bottles, custom cocktails, the works. It's like Johnson took the fanciest bar in New York and said, let's make this float. Now you might be thinking Johnson just uses this thing for his own private parties. But nah, he's got bigger plans. He hosts charity poker tournaments for celebs on this floating casino. Imagine playing Texas Hold'em with Hollywood stars while cruising through the Caribbean. That's the kind of event you can't buy tickets to. But as insane as Johnson's Casino Royale is, it's just one of the crazy yachts on our list. Up next, we've got a boat that's all about the music. We're talking recording studios, performance spaces, and a sound system that could probably be heard from space. Dr. Dre's floating recording studio. Imagine a recording studio so advanced it could make waves in the music industry, literally. What if I told you this studio isn't in LA or New York, but floating somewhere in the ocean right now? Dr. Dre's yacht ain't your average boat. This $500 million monster is like his legendary studio, but on steroids and with a killer ocean view. Dre's got multiple recording booths on this thing, each one looking out over the water. Imagine laying down tracks while watching dolphins jump or the sunset. That's the kind of inspiration money can buy. But the recording booths are just the start. Dre's got a mixing room on this yacht that'd make most land-based studios look like kids' toys. We're talking equipment so advanced it probably hasn't even hit the market yet. Dre's out here mixing beats with tech from the future while sailing the 7 seas. Now you might think all this fancy equipment is just for show, but nah. Dre's serious about making music on this floating paradise. He's got a whole performance space for live shows and listening parties. Picture this. You're at a secret concert on a yacht, with Dr. Dre himself spinning tracks. That's the kind of exclusive event you can't buy tickets to. But here's where it gets really wild. This yacht's got a sound system that's so powerful, you can probably hear it from miles away. Dre's out here bumping beats that have fish dancing and seagulls wondering what's going on. It's like he took his famous headphones and made them big enough to shake the whole ocean. Now don't think it's all work on this floating studio. Dre knows how to party too. There's a full-on nightclub on board for after-hours fun. When the sun goes down, this yacht turns into the hottest club on the water. Celebs are probably lining up to get an invite to one of Dre's yacht parties. Dre ain't just using this thing for his own music either. He's got artists coming on board to collaborate while cruising the coast. Imagine working on your next hit single while sailing past tropical islands. That's the kind of studio time most artists can only dream of. But as insane as Dre's floating recording studio is, it's just one of the crazy yachts on our list. Up next, we've got a boat that's more like a floating art gallery. We're talking famous paintings, sculpture gardens, and walls that change color. Can you guess which controversial rapper turned his yacht into a museum on water? Stick around to find out. Kanye West's floating art gallery. What if I told you there's a yacht out there that's part art gallery, part fashion studio, and part time machine? Kanye West's $600 million vessel is like stepping into the mind of a creative genius, if that genius had unlimited cash and a thing for vintage games. Kanye's yacht ain't just a boat, it's a floating museum of modern art. This $600 million beast's got gallery spaces that'd make the MoMA jealous. We're talking works from famous artists all over the place. Picasso? Probably. Basquiat? You bet. It's like Ye looked at regular yachts and said, nah, let's make this thing cultured. But Kanye ain't just showing off other people's art. He's got a studio on board where he works on his fashion designs. Imagine Ye sketching out the next Yeezy drop while cruising past Italian coastlines. That's the kind of inspiration money can buy. Now, you might think this yacht is all about high art, but Kanye knows how to keep it real too. He's got a whole room dedicated to his sneaker collection. We're talking wall-to-wall Yeezys, probably every colorway ever made. It's like a sneakerhead's heaven, but floating on water. Here's where it gets wild. The yacht's walls can change color to match Kanye's mood or the art on display. One minute it's all white for that minimalist vibe. Next it's Technicolor cause Ye's feeling funky. It's like the whole boat's a giant mood ring. But don't think it's all serious artist vibes on this floating gallery. Kanye's got a room full of arcade games from the 80s. We're talking Pac-Man, Space Invaders, the works. It's like Ye took a time machine back to his childhood and brought all the cool stuff with him. Kanye uses this floating art paradise to host exclusive shows and fashion previews. Imagine getting an invite to a Yeezy fashion show on a $600 million yacht. That's the kind of flex only Kanye can pull off. But as insane as Ye's floating art gallery is, it's just one of the crazy yachts on our list. Up next, we've got a boat that's all about sports. We're talking full-size courts, golf simulators, and a cigar lounge that'd make any sports fan drool. Can you guess which basketball legend turned his yacht into a floating sports complex? Stick around to find out. Michael Jordan's floating sports complex. Remember when MJ said, "The ceiling is the roof"? Well, on his $700 million yacht, there might not be a ceiling at all. This thing's got more sports facilities than some small countries. But the real game changer, it's not what you'd expect from the GOAT. Michael Jordan's floating sports complex ain't just a yacht, it's like he shrunk an entire NBA arena and plopped it on the ocean. First up, you know MJ had to have a full-size basketball court on this thing. It's probably the only place in the world where you can hit a game-winning shot while cruising past the Bahamas. But Jordan ain't just about basketball these days. He's got a golf simulator room where he practices his swing. Because when you're worth billions, why choose between sailing and golfing? MJ's out here playing 18 holes without ever touching land. That's next-level multitasking. Now here's where it gets real fancy. Jordan's got a cigar lounge on this yacht that'd make most country clubs jealous. Picture this, MJ's chilling, puffing on a Cuban, watching games on a screen bigger than most people's houses. That's how the GOAT relaxes after a long day of being, well, the GOAT. But wait, there's more. This $700 million monster's got a gym with equipment custom-made for pro athletes. We're talking machines built to handle Shaq-sized players. It's like Jordan looked at regular gym equipment and said, nah, make it bigger. Now you might think this yacht is all about sports, but MJ knows how to mix it up. There's a casino on board for when Jordan feels lucky. Because why go to Vegas when you can bring Vegas to you? It's probably the only place where you can lose $1 million to Michael Jordan and still feel like you won. Jordan ain't just using this floating sports paradise for himself though. He hosts charity tournaments and sports camps on this thing. Imagine being a kid and getting to play basketball with MJ on a $700 million yacht. That's the kind of experience you can't put a price tag on. But as insane as Jordan's floating sports complex is, it's just one of the crazy yachts on our list. Up next, we've got a boat that's basically a floating tech company. We're talking supercomputers, holograms, and enough gadgets to make Silicon Valley jealous. Can you guess which tech billionaire turned his yacht into a floating future? Stick around to find out. David Stewart's tech paradise. Ever wondered what would happen if Silicon Valley and a super yacht had a baby? Well, David Stewart did more than wonder. He built it. His $800 million floating tech hub is packing more processing power than some small countries. But here's the real kicker. This thing's got a room that'll make you question reality itself. David Stewart, the tech billionaire, ain't playing around with his yacht. This $800 million beast is like a floating Silicon Valley, but way cooler. Stewart's got a data center on this thing that'd make Google execs green with envy. We're talking servers stacked from floor to ceiling, humming away while dolphins swim by outside. It's like he took a chunk of the internet and set it adrift. But that's nothing compared to the room full of supercomputers Stewart's got on board. This ain't your average computer lab. These machines are running simulations so complex they could probably predict the weather for the next decade. Stewart's out here crunching numbers while cruising past tropical islands. Talk about multitasking. Now you might think all this tech is just for show, but nah, Stewart's serious about using this floating paradise. He's got a hologram room for 3D presentations and product demos. Imagine pitching your startup idea with holograms popping up all around you, while waves crash against the hull. That's the kind of futuristic flex only Stewart can pull off. But the real game changer, this yacht's got its own satellite for constant high-speed internet. Stewart ain't messing around with spotty Wi-Fi. He's beaming internet straight from space to his boat. It's probably faster than what most of us have at home. Now don't think it's all work and no play on this floating tech hub. Stewart knows how to blow off steam. There's a VR gaming room that's so advanced, you might forget you're on a boat. One minute you're sailing the Mediterranean, next you're battling aliens in virtual reality. That's the kind of entertainment $800 million can buy. Stewart ain't just keeping all this tech to himself though. He uses this floating Silicon Valley to host tech conferences and coding boot camps. Imagine learning to code while cruising through the Caribbean. That's the kind of education most tech geeks can only dream of. But as insane as Stewart's tech paradise is, it's just one of the crazy yachts on our list. Up next, we've got a boat that's all about giving back. We're talking floating hospitals, schools, and enough equipment to provide aid to entire countries. Can you guess which African billionaire turned his yacht into a humanitarian vessel? Stick around to find out. Robert Smith's Giving Pledge mega yacht. Ever wondered what a $1.5 billion yacht looks like? Well, Robert Smith's got one, and it ain't just for show. This private equity billionaire built the most expensive yacht owned by a black person, but he's using it to change the world. Smith's mega yacht is like a floating charity headquarters. He's got a whole conference center on board where he hosts Giving Pledge meetings. That's right, while other billionaires are partying, Smith's out here getting the rich to promise their wealth to good causes. But that's nothing compared to the research lab on this thing. Smith's got scientists working around the clock to find cures for diseases that hit minorities hard. It's like he took a chunk of Johns Hopkins and set it adrift. Now you might think all this do-gooding means the yacht's boring, but nah, Smith knows how to mix business with pleasure. He's got a stock trading floor where all the profits go straight to charities. It's like Wolf of Wall Street, but for a good cause. The yacht's equipped with drones too, but these ain't your average toys. Smith uses them to deliver aid to disaster areas. While other billionaires are taking selfies with their drones, Smith's out here saving lives. But don't think it's all work and no play on this floating charity. Smith's got a massive party deck for fundraising galas. Imagine sipping champagne under the stars while donating millions to good causes. That's the kind of party Smith throws. This $1.5 billion monster is changing the game when it comes to yachts. Smith's using it to make the world better while cruising in style. He's probably signed more charity checks on this boat than most people will in their whole lives. Smith's yacht is proof that you can have it all. Luxury, style, and a heart of gold. He's out here showing other billionaires how it's done. While they're competing over who's got the biggest boat, Smith's competing to see who can do the most good. So next time you see a mega yacht, remember it might be doing more than just looking pretty. It could be Robert Smith's floating charity, changing the world one wave at a time.